This lion is the king of the jungle. Huge, man. Yeah. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big, he's so hot, he doesn't want to move. Now the lion cubs come, they start messing with him, biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him, coming over making trouble. Still nothing. Now the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they bark at him, laugh at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. Runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Cause every once in a while the lion has to show the jackals who he is. It's no time to be scared. It's time to kill. When the lion roars, when the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles and the jungle shakes. This lion is the king of the jungle. Huge, man.
Roll elements on. You know, running the place from long time. Hear that? From the first couplet, crowd start lean and sway. One touch, sound boy fade. You feel it in your chest, not just your face. Selector read the crowd, one finger, pull it back. Every corner of the yard, know exactly who run that. When the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles. Roll elements out, the dance floor crumbles. From the front to the back, every heartbeat stumbles. When the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles. Whoa! Stick around the crate, scars from 1,000 nights. Name ring cross town, like thunder after light. OG in the move, still fresh, still sharp. Every rhythm that he touch, burn fire in the dark. When the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles. Roll elements sound, make the dance floor crumble. From the front to the back, every heartbeat stumbles. When the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles. Sound boy, better humble. Watch your crown, it tumble. Anyway you rumble, dance all start to rumble. When the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles. Roll make sound, make the dance floor crumble. From the front to the back, every heartbeat stumbles. When the lion roars, the whole jungle trembles. Words cut deep. Them can't tell me. Them a chat for me file. Screenshot me style. Clip up me line, try twist me profile. Panel killer, me mash up the child. One question, room silent for a while. Keyboard soldier, bruise up the ego. Use can't save you. True feel a steam no. Them want skill, but them want it free. Content creator them vex. Panel killer on the set. Me words are power them fret. Them wish them coulda do it like this. Them hate when me talk so wrong. If I share group change law, me stop calling everyone. Panel killer, me now withdraw. Silence, we answer with science. Set it up the evidence, expose the alliance. Maybe love me craft, while them up on space. Me study every angle, them study me face. Scene after scene, we script too clean. Them stuck on name, I stuck on dream. Audio razor, video laser, same time drop instant erasure. Content creator them vex. Panel killer on the set. Me words are power them fret them. Wish them coulda do it like this. Them hate when me talk so wrong. If I say group change law, me start calling everyone. Panel killer, me now withdraw. Turn up the sound when them try turn down. Still hear me name make a right through town. No wish for the graph, but skip the grind. Me sharpen the mind, them sharpen punchline. Content creator them vex. One day kill up on the set. Me words are for them fret. I wish they coulda do it like this. Them hate when me talk so wrong. The voice here from change now. Me stop calling everyone. Panel killer, me now withdraw.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Hey, look, we're gonna be getting into some serious conversation this evening. So look, I want everybody to because I gotta do it myself because this is some deep information we're gonna be getting into tonight. And probably be a good idea if y'all get y'all whatever you're gonna need, your libations, twist one up, whatever you need to do. But yeah, I got to get my mind right before I really get into this topic. So I got to twist one up real quick.
Ashtray crowded, lighter in my palm. Long week, loud thoughts need to quiet this storm. Rolled up papers, jar on the table. Sticky little forest smells strong as a fable. I'm about to twist one up, pass that flame, let's go right up. This for the high grade, get in the clouds. This for the crew that don't turn it down. I'm about to twist one up. What strain you working with? Pour it in my cup, time for smoke break. World on you, just me and this green that inner truth. You got that biscotti, I got that OG. Bring it down proper, mix it up slowly. Yeah. Laughs in the kitchen, couch ain't far. We don't need much, just a jar and the star. I'm about to twist one up, pass that flame, let's go right up. This for the high grade, in the clouds. This for the crew that don't turn it down. I'm about to twist one up. What string you working with? Pour it in my Step out, back door, same crowd. Couple kings, couple queens, all with chases that loud. Little glass jar, twist top, open up, whole block stop. You can smell that from the bus stop. Say you're ready, then let's talk. I'm about to twist one up. This is for the guy who smokers. This is for the high-grade tokers. Time for a smoke break. Wake up. I'm about to twist one up. What strain you working with? All that stuff being healthy. Let the stress bring off. It's so slow to baby off. You bring the cookie, I bring the blue. Mix that prop with that sky view. Laugh to the rear curve, life feel lighter. Two more bulls and we climb higher. I'm about to twist one up. This is for the guy who smokers. This is for the high-grade tokers. Time for a smoke break. Wake up. I'm about to twist one up. Twist one up. The way you look and roll that stuff in heavy. Let the stress burn off. It's that slow as a man get on.
All right, all right, all right. I am back, but give me one moment, man. I gotta do a little something real quick. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I am back. I am back, man. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody, man. Let me go back. And as I always say, and as I always do, hold on, let me get there we go. Where we at? Where we at? There we go. Like I always say, man, starting from the bottom and working my way back up to the top. What's starting off with Vibrant. What's going on, Vibrant? Wait for it. She want my heavy hitter mods up in this motherfucker. What's going on, Vibrant? Dr. Soapy. Salute Dr. Soapy D9 up in this motherfucker. Thank you for joining me tonight. My opinion. Heavy hitter mod up in this motherfucker, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my opinion. But you know what? Hold on. You know I got to. You know what I'm saying? You know I got to do the D9 right up in this motherfucker. You know I got to do. You know I got to do the D9 right up in this motherfucker. You know I got to do the D9 right up in this motherfucker. Yeah, I mean. But Dr. Soapy, thank you. Ray Triggs, man, thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Who else? Big Brenda, I really appreciate you being up here. I was just in your chat. You know what I'm saying? I was just in your chat. I'm like, damn, Big Brenda came over fucking with me, man. That's what's up. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who else? Is that it? Is that it? Make a change. Make a change. I'm gonna tell you why I'm late, bro, because like I said, bro, I had to get my mind right, you know, before I really tackle this subject. So, okay, so let's get into it, right? One thing that I've kind of come to understand since I've been here, like YouTube. Was some gunshots? You know, I'm in the hood. I keep, boy, real thing, you know. I think you just heard gunshots in the background, you know. Pure gunshot, you know. But anyway, so one thing that I've learned, you know, since I've been like in these YouTube spaces over these 6 years, that like I assume that people know like what I know, or they're up to date or up to speed on certain things that like that. I assume like everybody are aware are aware of, up to speed on. Like, I know I've hit panels and brought up like, hey, you hear about this plane crash or whatever? Like, no, I hear about it. I'm like, damn, it's like major type shit. You know what I mean? But like, so with that said, um, you know, people do what they do, but sometimes like they find themselves like I found myself in a situation where I'm not really doing what comes naturally to me, and I'm not doing what I should be doing to bring forth content. You know, because like I've always said, like with people, if you build it, they will come, right? So people who are doing true content and content that they love, it shines through. You know what I mean? And what is content? Content is something topical, right? You know what I mean? But anyway, before I start rambling, let me get focused and talk what I'm about to talk about. So this case that I'm going to be discussing, and it's going to be a ongoing series because before I even say anything, you know, I have a sense, if you will, knows what's going on. Stephanie, I think you are going to be very, very interested in this topic. It's going to be something you can sink your teeth into. But um, a case like this is one that I truly believe, like, a case like this is something that is used in politics, like to gain political leverage one way or another. Like before it's all said and done, the case that I'm going to be, or this situation or case I'm going to be getting into, is going to have like long ranging effects. It's going to um, it's going to result in let's say sweeping changes. It's going to uh, you may even see a battle or there's going to be a lot of finger pointing between um, um, different organizations, different agencies, and different states, right? Like I said, this case right here, before it's all said and done, is going to also um, reveal a very dark side of this country that people don't want to talk about. And I can already tell just by the way this case is being covered that it's very well. Not only is it disturbing, but it goes in what's going on YouTube Unfolded, but it goes in the avenue that it it it's embarrassing to us, to people, let's just say, in this country, because it's a bad reflection of this country to a certain group of people, so to speak. But anyway, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? What am I talking about? If you've seen the title, it's a case about a family out of Vinton County. Well, actually, the town is called, I think it's called Handon, and it's in a county called Vinton County here in Ohio, right? So if you are unaware of this case or what's going on, I'm going to show it's about give or say about maybe close to a half hour, right? But it's going to get you up to speed with what's going on, right? I'm gonna give a little commentary, you know, here and there throughout, but save your questions for after this video plays, all right? Because those of you who aren't familiar with this case, right, this will give you a good synopsis of basically where the case started. Now, this video is from like either the day all this went down or the day after. So, and this took place like maybe 9 days ago, 9-10 days ago. All right. So, just if anything, just like listen, take notes. All right, and we will definitely have questions Ask well, save your questions for after this as I continue my commentary. All right. So let's get into this right now.
Stupid that's happening close to Wellston and Benton County. Benton County, I mean, you don't know what's going on in this world anymore.
Shock, disbelief, and heartbreak. That's how neighbors in the small village of Hamden are describing what they've learned.
I've heard there were a lot of animals in the home as well, so I can just imagine what the kids lived in.
It all follows a horrible find at this small home. 16
Fair
children
use is in
living
effect. Fair
terrible
use is in
conditions.
effect.
I come up
By the
down through
way.
all the time. I never seen a kid out here.
Neighbors coming down Omer Street to see this house for themselves, and they're asking the simple question, how was this able to happen?
Or did they know the kids were there? I mean, that's just where it kind of bothers me. If they knew the kids were there, they should have been removed, I think.
Tuesday night, people who live here say they're still struggling to make sense of what happened just down the street.
But it's not, I mean, it's not Benton County per se. It's just where they.
Okay, so we're up to speed now. A search warrant was served on the house where they found 16 children basically housed in a 12 by 12 foot room. Okay,
They chose to bring their chaos because I was told that they weren't from here.
Absolutely. I mean, I was born and raised in Columbus, and this.
Okay, that's the first point I want to make already, and she is correct. They are not like, this is not a Benton County family. Okay, so let's continue.
For down here is very sad and shocking because you wouldn't expect to hear it in a village of 200.
We're not used to seeing here in America. It really looked third world. Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
This is not the time for you to argue your case. Count 5, count 7, count 12, count 17. Each of those felonies of the second degree.
The children were kept in a roughly 12 by 12 area.
Now, let me just stop and just say, like, this is a very complex, very complicated situation, as we're going to that's why I chose this particular video, because there's a lot in this video that I'm going to be able to draw from. So let's continue.
It's like it's where they've spent the most of the last 4 years.
Pure evil. Those were the words used to describe what was happening behind closed doors at a home in Benton County.
Now, you know, at the end of all my shows, I say words have power, right? Now, in terms of media, that's especially like important. And you hear the opening sentence or how this is even being framed by the media and law enforcement as pure evil. So let's continue.
Suspects are facing serious charges now after 16 children were discovered in what authorities call a house of horrors. Sheriff's deputies searched that home on Tuesday, finding kids covered in feces, urine.
Okay, house of horrors. You know, I'm not disagreeing, but you hear how an example of how pictures are painted with words. Okay, house of horrors. Just listen to these.
Held in a 12 by 12 room for 4 years. Detectives say some of them were so ill they were close to dying.
We have team coverage of this unprecedented investigation rattling a small town.
What's going on, Ron P?
Tonight. Chief investigator Lisa Rantala is digging into how the family kept these children hidden there.
Make sure y'all like and share,
First, we begin
please.
with Annabelle Kinney, who talked with neighbors living doors down from this horrific scene.
This is the home where the 16 children were being kept. Neighbors that live just across the street say if they would have known what was happening, they would have jumped help.
Dusty, and I didn't sleep a whole lot last night, and I prayed a whole lot that that all them kids get better.
It looked like something out of a third world country.
Okay, I want to go
That's
back
how
for a
Ohio Attorney
second.
General Andy Wilson described the.
Okay, listen to this statement here.
This is the home where the 16 children were being kept. Neighbors that live just across the street say if they would have known what was happening, they would have jumped in to help.
It's disgusting.
Neighbors across the street. Now, across the street is a relative term considering like where this location is. Vinton County is in like southeastern Ohio. I'm familiar with it like from my construction background. I've actually worked in a lot of those like small counties down in southeast Ohio, like working construction projects. So I'm definitely familiar with Vinton County and that whole southeastern Ohio area. But you hear the statement, if the neighbors would have known what was going on or if those children were there, somebody would have done something or stepped in. Just remember that comment.
And I didn't sleep a whole lot last night, and I prayed a whole lot that that all them kids get better.
It looked like something out of a third world country. That's how Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson described the conditions inside the home where investigators say 16 children were being kept.
Now, this is Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson, and he showed up the day of or the day after this or after the search warrant was served, and children were discovered. And the fact that he traveled to Vinton County and did this press conference let me know that, okay, this is a major situation. But we're going to be hearing from Attorney General Wilson a little bit later.
Almost beyond comprehension that this stuff can happen in our country, and that it can happen in a house at the hands of people who are in charge of taking care of kids.
Wilson says 7 of the kids were sent to Columbus area hospitals on Tuesday. Josh Odell says he can see the backyard of the home where police say the kids were being kept and hidden.
We have a little girl ourselves, so it immediately alarmed me like there's some very bad people that was just right there.
He says in his 5 years of living there, he's never seen any children and wants more answers.
Did they give birth at the hospital to all these kids? Where's those records? And something that struck me is
what's going on, Shaquem?
People are not from around here.
Officials say the children.
Okay, now, I'm looking at this guy's eyes, and on one hand, like he comes across is very honest and forthright. So I'm getting the impression that from what he's saying, like he didn't even know it was 16 children over there. Like he didn't know it was any kids over there. Now, the reason I'm bringing up this now is because, admittedly, I didn't watch this entire like 30-minute clip initially until I was preparing for this live. And there's a segment towards the end that really kind of like turns all this shit upside down and really kind of pissed me off a little bit. But let's continue.
Were not enrolled in school. The Vinton County Sheriff says due to the children being isolated and some children being developmentally disabled, it has impacted the investigation.
It's one of the investigative challenges we have to face is that they are limited. They can't communicate.
Joseph Stewart is another neighbor that lives next door. He says he's seen the 4 people charged going to Dollar General every once in a while, but never any kids.
Kind of ashamed that they did stuff like that. And after I seen the pictures of their mugshot and they look pretty rough.
Odell says the guilt of not knowing is taking a toll on him.
I really hope they all get better. But I mean, it obviously is weighed on my conscience that I wished I could have done something.
Now, investigators say the suspects are the kids' grandmother, grandfather, and father and mother, and that they could have been living in a 12-by-12 room for years. Reporting live in Vinton County, Annabelle Kinney, ABC 6 News.
Annabelle, thank you very much. Investigators say that Vinton County home first hit their radar out of a separate investigation. And that's why they say they executed their first search warrant, and then they found those abused kids.
ABC 6 on your side. Chief Investigator Lisa Rontola spent the afternoon at the courthouse tracking down those search warrants.
Okay, now this is where, if you saw my title, The Siders Family, something's not right. 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 And this is where it starts to not be right. But let's continue.
Jessica, Mike, this afternoon I spoke with two judges, one clerk, who tell me here at the courthouse this afternoon, one county judge did tell me he did sign one search warrant for that home, which is sealed tonight. A probate judge confirmed he signed a second search warrant, also sealed. Now, a common pleas court judge has the case of a mother, father, grandmother, and grandfather who could face more than 100 years behind bars.
All right, hold on for a minute. Let me, at this point, give a trigger warning for this next, because we're gonna have to digest this. I'm giving y'all fair use because this is where shit gets a lot more complicated. Okay, now we're gonna go through this together, but listen very closely.
Gary Siders Jr. and Sr. facing 17 counts. Elizabeth Siders and mom Christina facing 16. These are.
Now, when I first heard this, I'm like, wait a minute, let me go back and listen to this shit again.
For that home, which is sealed tonight, a probate judge confirmed he signed a second search warrant.
And this is the only time that since this is broken, right? This is the only time that I have heard the relationship of the four individuals broken down to this detail.
Also sealed. Now, a common pleas court judge has the case of a mother, father, grandmother, and grandfather who could face more than 100 years behind bars. Gary Siders Jr. and Sr. facing 17 counts.
Okay, so obviously that's the father, that's the son. That's oh, let me get you familiar with the cast of characters. That's Gary Sr. And you see he's seated in a wheelchair. That is going to be very important later. I didn't notice that at first, but it's going to come into play later. But if you notice, Gary Sr., the grandfather, seated to the left in a wheelchair, and his son, Gary Jr., the father of the 16 children. Okay. Allegedly. Or from what we know now, he is the father of 16 children. Okay. Father and son.
Elizabeth Siders and mom Christina facing 16.
Okay. To the right, we have, I don't know if my cursor is, y'all can see my cursor. Okay. So to the right, we have Elizabeth, who is the mother of the 16 children and the wife of Gary Jr. And to the left, you have mom, Christina, who is the wife of Gary Sr. So, best case scenario is these two are stepbrother and sister, all right? And this is something that the media like doesn't want to say, all right? They don't want to say it, so I gotta say it because this is the best case scenario, like, because I'm just assuming this because I don't think that a marriage license would have been granted to brother and sister. So let me just go back again so we can get this straight.
A probate
This
judge
broke
confirmed
about
he signed a
this broke on
second
July
search
2nd.
warrant, also
Stephanie.
sealed. Now, a common pleas court judge has the case of a mother, father, grandmother, and grandfather who could face more than 100 years behind bars. Gary Siders Jr. and Sr. facing 17 counts.
Once again, Gary Sr. and Jr. Okay.
Elizabeth
to the right and her mother to the left.
Siders and mom Christina facing 16.
Now, like I said, all you gotta do is go through. Okay. Let me say something also, because this case is being picked up by like I've seen YouTube channels like your true crime channels and all this type of shit. And one thing that I've noticed they've been doing is when I look at thumbnails, right, they have, this story is bad enough that you don't need to sensationalize anymore. It is, but one thing that I've seen on thumbnails, they will have the mother of the children, Elizabeth, to the left, and a picture of the grandfather, as if they're the two that are married, right? If you see, as you start to, if this case is of interest to you and you start to, look into it, if you see anything like that shows pictures of like the children depicted or show like in cages or chained up or chained or anything like that, that's either AI, a different story, clickbait, whatever. There are no photos from inside the home, including the children or the room they were kept in or anything from inside the house, like from first responders, police, or anything that has been released to the public. So anything you see is not credible. The most that you might see is pictures from outside of the home, exterior pictures that have been taken by like different press organizations. All right. So let's continue.
These are serious allegations, and if you are unsure on what to do, I will enter a not guilty plea for you until you can consult with counsel.
Prosecutors describe the four as mother, grandmother, grandfather, and father, and accuse them of abusing more than a dozen children from 1 year old to 18 years old. The first victim, it shows that they are 18 years old. Why is that a child endangerment charge?
Good question. The young person's mental capacity, she is, we believe, developmentally disabled.
They tell me.
Now, when I first heard this case, right, and I was, how you doing, Lorna? And I'm hearing like the condition of the children, the condition of the home. Like, well, the first thing I thought of are situations where people hoard like animals, especially cats, right? And they'll have a, well-meaning people a lot of times with, mental disorders, whatever, but they, cats, the reason I say cats, because the nature of cats and where they breed, they're the easiest animal to become overrun with in a short period of time. So you will find yourself in a house full of feral felines or feral cats, right? And unfortunately, like, this is feral people is the best way that I could describe like what I picture the situation with these children. But let's continue.
The 18-year-old could not spell her own name. The others were also not enrolled in school. Did these children know how to read and write?
Yeah, again, we're working through that right now. Some of these children couldn't even speak.
Investigators say the family kept,
which if the picture they're painting is true, I definitely can believe that.
Kept children hidden for years, avoiding being part of any medical or government records since 2008. How were you able to acquire the dates of birth? Were you able to get hospital records, or were some of these children born inside that home?
There's no evidence that any of the children were born inside that home, although that is something that they were initially investigating.
And investigators said today they are looking into more charges. Part of that investigation, they're trying to determine if any of these children, any of the victims, were sexually assaulted. As for that parallel investigation, investigators say that started about 4 to 6 weeks ago. But as of tonight, we have not found any other charges against these 4 victims other than child endangerment. Reporting live in Vinton County, I'm Chief Investigator Lisa Rontola.
Well, Lisa, fortunately, a lot has been revealed since then, and I got a lot of information. So let's continue.
Lisa, thank you very much. There are still so many questions about all of this tonight. We are trying to get answers about all these things. We have.
So, since though this was the day of, and actually, these 4 questions are still very, very, important, and these are some of the questions I'm going to actually cover tonight. So let's hear these questions.
I've requested any 911 calls that led to this investigation, any previous law enforcement runs to that home, and any prior involvement with Children's Services.
The age range of the kids there's a lot of specific hurdles involved in this crime. We will get you that information as soon as we can. We just want to let you know that, also to touch back on that, the community is safe. They're just as safe as the day before you learned that this had happened. And we're still working on it, and we're going to do the best we can to make sure you guys are informed. So, thank you.
We got Mandy Wilson.
Okay, now we're gonna hear this section of the press conference from Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson, and I got to tell you, just body language analysis right now. Truth be told, I've never seen Mr. Wilson before in a press conference, so I don't know his mannerisms. I don't know like his cadences and all that, but he just comes across as a, and just in this press conference, just watch his body language.
Ohio's Attorney General. I want to open up by saying, like I did yesterday, like I do every time I talk about a criminal case that's just been charged, that under our American criminal justice system, everybody who is charged is cloaked in the presumption of innocent, and they remain innocent unless and until they are taken.
All right, let me just pause it for a minute and just put the pair of glasses on that I want y'all to be looking through, right? When someone is like hiding something or whatever, like there's a certain energy, body language, like demeanor that they give off, right? And he, to me, just gives off like something's not right. Like we're not getting the entire story. Like he's hiding something. But let's continue.
Taken into court and proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That being said, I'm coming to this press conference directly from the sheriff's office, where I had the opportunity again to sit down with sheriff's office detectives and with some of our BCI agents. And I was briefed, updated on the status of the investigation and the case. And I actually had the opportunity today to look at some of the evidence of the case. I was out at the scene with our agents and the detectives yesterday, so I saw the location, I saw the condition that it was in. Some of the evidence, yesterday when I saw the location.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it for a minute because I think this is the statement he's about to make, right? I think, and it's a statement that I think per se came from the heart, and this is how he felt. But I think this, in combination with the fact that these are potential at best stepbrother, stepsister, right, is giving the parties involved, the press, law enforcement, whatever, a hard time processing this. And there's a statement he's about to make that kind of like, okay, like they're having a hard time processing this.
The kids were already gone. They were being treated at the hospital. The evidence I got to see today was some evidence where the initial discovery of the children was captured or documented. And again, I've done these types of cases for a long time. And I've been in incredibly poverty-stricken areas.
Okay, here we go. Listen
in the inner
closely.
city. I've been in poverty-stricken areas in rural Ohio. And I've just never seen anything like I saw today with respect to those kids. As we sat and we talked about it, as the team kind of talked about it, it really looked third world. It's the type of thing that we're not used to seeing here in America, where our children are really our most precious resource, and we have an obligation as parents, guardians, and custodians to love our kids, to care for our kids, to ensure that they are safe, that they are well fed, that they have safe conditions to live in. That's what we expect here in America. And again, what I saw today, the evidence, what I've seen up to this point in this case is just almost beyond comprehension that this stuff can happen in our country, and that it can happen in a house at the hands of people who are in charge of taking care of
What's up, Joe?
kids. In looking at the evidence, I can tell you without hesitation that a lot of credit has to go to local law enforcement, to Ohio BCI. I have the superintendent of BCI, Bruce Pijanowski, with me here today. And I have the on-scene supervisor, Jim Mulford, who...
In this case, in so many ways, the more I hear him speaking, and I hear what he just said and what he's gonna say, it makes me understand now why the coverage is the way it is, and why I'm seeing like even the demeanor, the energy of the press and the law enforcement the way it is, because this is such a black eye, such a disgrace on the country itself.
Really, it was his team that put this case together and worked with local sheriffs, deputies, and sheriff detectives in putting this investigation together. And they took it to the prosecutor's office to get the warrant, or at least have the warrant approved. And the reason I say that is because, again, a lot of credit goes to the men and women of this investigative team, because I'm telling you, in what I've seen up to this point, I think if they would have waited another 24 hours, there was a very high probability that we'd be dealing with a death or multiple deaths.
Okay, now remember that statement for our later conversation, but let's continue.
Of these children. I'm not going to go specifically into the medical conditions of the kids, other to say that is since the discovery of this situation, as you heard the prosecutor say yesterday, our number one concern has been the physical well-being of those children. All of the children were examined and treated. Several of the children, I believe 7 of them, were taken to Columbus hospitals. And as I told you yesterday, I think at least 2 of them were care flighted. Those children, again, continue. We continue to treat and make sure that they are okay.
Steph, he's not done yet.
Concern, but we also have to be concerned with their mental and emotional well-being as well. And I can tell you, on behalf of the investigative team, on behalf of the prosecutor, on the sheriff's office, that is the number one priority, is make sure that these kids are taken care of physically, mentally, and emotionally. And part of that, as you heard the prosecutor say, is making sure that they are placed, that custody of these children is removed from the people who did this to them, and that these kids are placed in safe, loving environments where, again, it's going to take a lot of work to address the emotional harm and some of the issues that are going to result from this. But we need to make sure that those kids are surrounded and loved and supported by people who truly care for them. And we talked to the investigative team this morning, and it appears from the evidence in this case that these kids have been in a position where people they should have been able to trust to take care of them have failed them. Not only failed them, but harmed them. And it's now up to us to stand up for those kids. And you saw that yesterday from the detectives, the agents who went in and removed the kids from this physical location. But now it's on the system, and working with Prosecutor Archer and talking with him through the case, he understands fully that one of the best ways that you can help these kids, one of the best ways that you can address their long-term emotional and mental needs is by holding accountable the people who harm them. And talking to him about the evidence, and talking to him about his plan for the case, I am confident that he's dedicated to seeing that justice is done for these kids, and that the community, again, remains safe for everybody. We have offered the help of the Ohio Attorney General's office any way we can. We have our Special Prosecutions Division. I have Jimmy Lowe, who's the Deputy Attorney General for Law Enforcement. He's been down with us all morning. We've offered up prosecutors from our Special Prosecution Division to assist, and I believe we're gonna partner in helping with that case. But our role is one of support and leveraging our resources. I want to thank Governor Mike DeWine. I talked to Governor DeWine a couple times yesterday. I talked to Kara Wendy, who is the director of the Department of Children and Youth, ensuring that the needs of these kids, the placement of these kids, because as you can imagine, placing 16 kids in a county of this size taxes the resources. I have assurances from the governor and from the Department of Children and Youth, the governor's staff, that they,
which is another factor I'm going to get into. Like this case like I said, it exposes so much, state economics. Let's continue.
They will provide whatever we need, whatever resources we need to support these kids and help protect these kids. The other thing I want to say is this, as the prosecutor said, this is isolated to an intrafamilial event. The citizens of this community don't have to worry about their kids being part of this, or somebody out there in addition to this that may be doing harm to their kids. But if anybody out there has information about this family and about these kids, if they call the Ohio Attorney General's office, and we'll have that number here available after this press conference. They call the Ohio Attorney General's office to our tip line. We certainly will get that to BCI, and we will want to talk to you as the investigation moves forward. So with that, I certainly appreciate the good work of everybody involved in this case. And Steve, I think at this point, I'm going to turn it over to a few questions.
Attorney General Wilson, I'll start real quick because I think it would be helpful for us.
Okay, now, with press conferences, a lot of times, this is where shit goes south because, like, when you have your prepared statements, right, shit goes smooth. But when you gotta go off script and answer questions, that's where sometimes shit goes south. And this is where his body language, to me, begins to change.
I know you said yesterday that this family has been traveling and has been here for I don't know how long of a period of time. Can you talk about how long they've been in Benton County, and then can you share any information about where they had been prior that perhaps help other families in other parts of the country that may see this and wonder, wait, the Siders were living here and I'm worried about what might have happened in my hometown. How long have they been here? Where did they come from?
Sure. We know that they have ties to Gallia County. There was some talk that they may have been down in Pike County. There was some talk that possibly in Jackson County. There's some talk that they were up in Wisconsin for a little bit.
Okay, let me stop and tell you something right there. Those counties that he named, I'm familiar with all them counties, like from having to work down there. And these, like, I want to say there is 66 counties in Ohio. I do believe there's 66 counties here in Ohio. And Vinton, like damn near every county that he named are in the, put it like this, if I'm not mistaken, Vinton County is like the 6th poorest county in Ohio. And those other counties that were named, I would guarantee you are probably in the top 5 also. But let's continue.
And it appears that they've been back here in Benton County for about 4 years.
Was Elizabeth the mother of all of these children, and how were you guys tipped off by this?
I'm not going to answer that because it's an ongoing investigation.
Let me get my echo. Something's not right. 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 Something's not right.
You said the conditions were third world.
Okay, now listen to this statement right here, because like I said, this along with like the nature of these motherfuckers probably being I want to say best case scenario, being stepbrother and stepsister. All right. That alone is an embarrassment to this country. All right. That alone.
Like, can you describe some of the conditions?
Who?
Listen closely what he says. Steph, listen to this.
The sheriff is on the scene as well. I probably ought to have him come up, but boy,
I've seen livestock live.
Yeah.
Mostly kept better.
So you've got to come up there.
As I was saying, most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children. It was extremely high presence, I'm sure, of bacterial and human feces. It was just a disgusting scene.
Can I ask both of you?
Now, if you look at the sheriff's like reaction, right? Like, you know, that almost shell-shocked, like distant look. Like, he's seen this shit. He's like being down there. Like, I'm sure this motherfucker has busted in many a trailer home. He's seen some shit down there. And when seasoned law enforcement has a reaction like this, you know it's something fucked up. But there's a statement that the Attorney General is going to make here coming up that's really going to really sum up a lot.
What did you feel like walking through there? Not necessarily what it looked like with the description, but what was going through your mind?
So it was disgusting, even where the kids weren't. I would think it's typical. Most law enforcement have experience with homes in a similar fashion. A large number of people, though, the children were kept in a roughly 12 by 12 area. It seems like it's where they've.
You know, once again, like this is the, I believe this is the sheriff of Vinton County. And like I said, like, you know, you can kind of see in his face, like what he saw, you know what I'm saying? And a picture speaks 1,000 words.
The most of the last 4 years, and that's what it looks like. In a weird way, you're hit with two emotions. There is joy when we realize that we're about to change 16 lives for the better. But you're also, it's hard.
Were there any signs of sexual abuse towards the children, and did they ever go?
That's still part of the ongoing investigation.
Yeah,
When
we
did this system become
necessary? Yeah. So I'll answer. That's part of the ongoing investigation. We can't answer that. I will tell you this.
Listen to this quote right here.
There isn't much evidence that kids live there. As we've talked to some of the neighbors, we've talked to some of the people from the neighborhood. These people have been here for about 4 years, and we've talked to some people who live in the neighborhood who said, I had no idea that kids were even there.
Okay, now I want you to listen to, well, just listen to this statement, because there's going to be some contradictory statements made here, not by him, but I just want you to Just let's continue.
And we're talking about, somebody asked about, to describe the conditions, adding on to what.
Okay, now this is the comment that I want everybody to listen to.
I didn't actually go into the room where the kids were. I just looked through the door. That was yesterday. I can still smell. I can't get the smell. I cannot get the smell off of me or away from me right now. We were just talking about that a little while ago. And then we were talking as a group about some of the evidence we looked at today where they actually discovered the kids.
Okay, here we go. I want everybody to listen to this quote. I know I've been setting it up like, okay, people, let play, but I want you to hear this quote because I'm going to break it down.
And found the kids. And it's not that different than those old commercials you see of like kids in Africa, like just where they were covered in bugs and squatting and had that like distant look in their eyes. It's terrible. I mean, where they actually discovered the kids and found the kids. And it's not that different than those old commercials you see of like kids in Africa, like just where they were covered in bugs and squatting and had that like distant look in their eyes. It's terrible. I mean, it is absolutely terrible. And
okay, so here's the crux of it right here, right? Why this is going to be a very difficult case and why I got to be here to really like give it to y'all, because this right here is very difficult for white people. I'm just keeping 100, like quote unquote Americans or white people, because one, you know, where this leads back to is a direct reflection to what we call affectionately poor white trash. All right. Okay. Which is a stain on the white community, poor white trash. And the fact that they can't process anything like this taking place in this country. Like, and I'm not faulting him because he spoke, look at him. But that's the best thing that he can compare this to. Is like, wait a minute, that shit that happened over in Africa. Like, this shit don't happen over here. Like, I can't process it because this shit don't happen over here. This shit happened over there with them. You see what I'm saying? So it's I'm not looking at him negatively like, oh, hey, racist. No, when I'm looking at him is like, it's an honest statement that is showing that the overall embarrassment that subconsciously I think he's, and the whole, all parties involved feel, because one, just some old hillbilly shit. Like as we unpack this shit is deep, right? And the fact that the conditions, it's not like we're not supposed to be living like this in this country, right? So that's why I said, like, it's cases like this that are used in political debates, used to win political races. You see what I'm saying? This case right here, before it's all said and done, and it's going to take a while to play out, but before it's all said and done, this case right here is going to put it like this: there's not too many people in the country, unless you hide on a rock, who aren't going to know who the siders are.
And again, we got to make sure the kids are safe. We got to make sure they're placed in good, solid therapeutic placements, and we have to hold accountable the people who are willing.
What's going on, Eyes? How you doing?
Were the kids enrolled in school? Were the kids enrolled in school?
No.
Are there any like warning signs that investigators are now looking at, considering that this was happening in our community for such a long time and went unnoticed? What is being done about that looking ahead?
Yeah, well, obviously we'll look at every single case and look at lessons you can learn or how you can do it better, so conditions don't repeat themselves. So we're certainly looking at that.
again, the evidence shows that these folks were pretty good at hiding these kids. And I think you're going to see that part of the reason they were hiding these kids is they knew that these kids were neglected. They knew that if anybody actually knew what was going on, these kids probably would have been removed, and they would have lost the kids. So they were pretty adept at.
Okay, I want you to hear him. I want you to hear this statement because this is very, very, very important to something that I see. Because I actually, truth be told, I think I had turned it off by this point. When this is first aired, so I didn't hear. I really didn't hear like what we heard, like what we're hearing now. I didn't hear it until yesterday. All right.
So we're certainly looking at that. Again, the evidence shows that these folks were pretty good at hiding these kids. And I think
they were pretty good at hiding these kids.
You're going to see that part of the reason they were hiding these kids is they knew that these kids were neglected. They knew that if anybody actually knew what was going on, these kids probably would have been removed, and they would have lost the kids.
If anybody actually knew what was going on, they would have lost the kids. Okay, let's continue.
So they were pretty adept at keeping these kids out of sight.
Something's not right.
But we have an obligation, and again, that's one of the things I talked to Kara Winty about yesterday. We all have an obligation to go back and look at these situations and look at areas where we can make improvements. And having worked with Governor DeWine for a long time, I know that's exactly what he does in every single case. So we'll go back and look at the full case, the full investigation. Really, right now, I told the investigative team this morning, even though this all blew up yesterday, we're really just at the beginning of all of this. We're dealing with making sure the kids are safe, making sure that the kids get placed, gathering the evidence, doing the search warrants, taking in the property, doing all of the casework type of stuff we have to do. I'm certain that down the road we'll look broader at those type of issues as well.
How did the system or any mandatory board become aware of this, or was this done directly by law enforcement and it came to the sheriff's department first, or how did you guys work that?
Yeah, all I can tell you on that part is,
how did you become aware of this? Now watch this motherfucker start dancing.
There was an investigation, there was a parallel investigation going on for something else that led law enforcement to that house on the search warrant, and they went into that house.
Oh, Andy, I'm gonna tell everybody about the parallel investigation. Don't worry, buddy. We haven't gotten to that yet.
And discovered this.
Why were the conditions deemed?
Are they hospitalized?
So as of this morning, some were basically examined and released last night. Some were admitted to Columbus hospitals last night. I know that there was one that was in.
Oh, I already know. About where a lot of the kids came from, but we're gonna get into that.
And I don't know
as soon as this
who
video is
released and who hasn't, other than the 7 were stayed overnight.
Would the children being isolated like this, when you rescued them, were they able to talk and communicate?
That's one of the challenges we're facing during it. Yes, sorry. That's one of the challenges we're facing. That's why there's kind of contributes to a lack of information. It's one of the investigative challenges we have to face is that they are limited. They can communicate, but it's extremely limited and some not.
Okay, now this is important. Later, I want y'all to listen to the description of the children, how they describe the condition and let's just say mental development of the children as a whole. All right, this is very important. Okay, so listen to the picture that they're painting of the children.
Not at all at the moment.
Are any of these children, are they found on Amber Alerts, missing kids platforms or anything like that?
Why were the conditions deemed unsafe for officers to go in?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. So as they were doing the search warrant yesterday and moving property, they literally were about to fall through the floor.
Yes.
So yeah.
Was there any indication that the kids were involved in public life or education prior to moving to Benton County?
Not at this time, no.
How long was this investigation going on? Were there any complaints that were made to local child?
How long was this investigation going on? Watch them start dancing.
There were authorities.
Well, again, I'm talking about the part of the investigation that got us to the search warrant. And that was an ongoing cooperative investigation that had gone on. Again, something unrelated. It wasn't about
Yes,
the welfare of these
it's here in Ohio.
At that point.
Oh, I'm gonna get into the parallel investigation, Andy. Don't worry.
We didn't know that there was going to be 16 kids there. We weren't. Again, when they talk to people, people were like, "No, I haven't seen any kids. I haven't seen any kids there." So some of that is out there with respect to the parallel investigation that was going on. I don't know. It was a joint effort between Vinton County and BCI. Maybe a month, 6 weeks but that was not related to the conditions of the house or the welfare. Literally, they were coming to the culmination of that other investigation, which led them to do a search warrant at that house.
Are there birth certificates for the children? Are there birth certificates for the children? Anything on record?
That's still part of the investigation. That's something we're working on.
How exactly are the four defendants related to each other?
Okay, now this is now I already told you, like it's grandfather, grandmother, you know what I'm saying? And the son is the daddy's son, and the daughter is the mama's son, the mama daughter. Like basically they stepbrother at best, they stepbrother, stepsister. That's what the motherfucker should have said. You know what I mean? But just listen, and like I said, this is where the embarrassment of the situation comes in, because he can't even say it.
Or the welfare. Literally, they were coming to the culmination of that other investigation, which led them to do a search warrant at that house.
Are there birth certificates for the children? Are there birth certificates for the children? Anything on record?
That's still part of the investigation. That's something we're working on.
Now he's gonna ask, what's the relationship? What is the relationship between these four motherfuckers?
Exactly are the four defendants related to each other? I don't want to make an assumption here.
Yeah.
Okay, then the guy that's about to speak, he's going to become a pivotal figure in this whole situation. He is the chief prosecutor of Vinton County, or the Vinton County prosecutor.
Yeah. Grandma, grandpa, father, and mother.
You see how you see that look? I want you to look at the look of, like, I ain't trying to tell you like that these motherfuckers was stepbrother and stepsister.
Anything on record?
That's still part of the investigation. That's still part of the That's something we're working on.
How exactly are the four defendants related to each other? I don't want to make an assumption here.
Yeah, I think.
Look, he looked like, hey, bro, you got to answer that motherfucker right here. Nah, nigga. Yeah. You take this one. Look, the sheriff looked. The sheriff looked. Wait a minute. I'm catching all this shit like for the first time. The sequence, like the sheriff's face. Look at the sheriff's face. He was like, "Dog, you don't want to know." He was like, "Oh," Andy was like, "Hey, you gotta take this partner. I'm not. Nah. How you gotta tell these motherfuckers." Look how this sequence break down.
Are there birth certificates for the children? Anything on record?
That's still part of the investigation. That's still part of the investigation. That's something we're working on.
How exactly are the four defendants related to each other? I don't want to make an assumption here.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
You look, sheriff, like, all right, fucked
Grandma,
up.
Grandpa, father, and mother. At this point, that's what we know.
So
nah, motherfucker, y'all know more.
Find this.
Something's not right. Oh, eyes. I got. This video is almost over. I'm trying to get everybody up to speed, because most people really don't know about the situation. But it's about what's about to come up at the end of this video, actually, that had me like, oh wait a minute, hold up, something's not right.
Kids was a parallel.
Too much sweating. I hear you.
I think so. Yeah, that's a correct statement. Absolutely.
Can we expect more charges for these people?
Yeah, obviously it's an ongoing investigation, and there could be more charges as we continue to uncover evidence.
Do you know if they'll have any more protection in jail? Any type of protection?
currently at the regional jail, they are aware of their crimes and or the allegation of their crimes, and appropriately are treating them as any other inmate accused of those crimes are while in population.
This small town is still trying to process the details that investigators have laid out in this case. Now, we did speak with a local store employee who says that she served.
Now, this when like I said, admittedly, I just heard this part yesterday, and this right here turns this whole shit like this is where something's not right. But let's continue.
Insiders the night before they were arrested. More than a day after 16 children were removed from a home in the small village of Hamden, people are still coming to Omer Street trying to understand how something like this could have happened.
It's absolutely heartbreaking, especially since I've got a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old daughter, and I've heard that some of these kids never saw the light of day.
The shock comes after these 4 people were charged with 17 counts of child endangerment.
Now, let me just, if you've been with me from the beginning, like everything we heard from neighbors, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know what the fuck. Shit, kids, we know kids, new kids was in there, we were done. Okay, so let's hear
Benton
this.
County Sheriff described the conditions inside the home as horrific.
It was mind blown once I saw the mugshot. Like, oh, I spoke to them. I just seen them on Monday. They were my last customers on Monday.
Now, this is the part that flipped this that totally discredits everything that we heard prior from the district attorney or from the state prosecutor. I mean, I'm sorry, from the Ohio Attorney General to all the neighbors who said, oh, we didn't know, those kids over there. She is a employee at a Dollar General in the town of Hamden, which is in Vinton County. The actual town that they live in is called Hamden. Let's see what she has to say.
It's sad. It's crazy. It's a sad situation.
Employees at the Hamden Dollar General say the Siders were regular customers, stopping in almost every night just before closing, buying water, vegetable oil, and sometimes sugar, often accompanied by just one of the children.
Oh, I noticed that he would keep her really close to her, and she was not allowed to speak to nobody. I noticed that. And when she came in with the kids
Now, I'm sure they ain't talking about 16, but I mean, hell, 16, like some of them, you know what I mean? But listen to this.
were all very thin, very, very thin, ghost white, didn't have no weight on their body, and they had their hair over their face.
Her description is going to be very important for something a video I'm going to be playing later. All right, but I just want you to hear
Like
this.
to block out, the outside world.
My
to
bad,
not
my
see
bad. I
them.
want y'all to hear.
Came in with the kids. The kids were all very thin, very, very thin, ghost white, didn't have no weight on their body, and they had their hair over their face, like to block out, the outside world to not see them.
Ariel Gutierrez says store employees tried to help, offering the family clothes and hygiene products, but she says they never saw those items put to use. Investigators have described the conditions inside the home as unforgettable. The Ohio Attorney General saying the smell inside the home is something he can't forget. Gutierrez says that same odor was noticeable every time the family walked into the store.
The smell to me, honestly, when I think about them and hear them, the smell will never leave my mind. I will always have that smell in my mind, sad to say, just because it was so potent. Like they could have left the store 5 minutes ago and the store would still smell.
Now she says her focus is on the children, hoping they finally have the chance at a better life.
Just sorry to the children, and I'm sorry that I should have said something sooner, and I'm praying, and I know they're in better conditions now, and hopefully they get what they deserve.
As the community continues to process what happened, many say they're praying for the children and hoping Hamden can begin to heal.
Got to go and make sure, and we got to trust that God has.
Investigators say that those children are now at hospitals across the state of Ohio and that this investigation is still ongoing.
It's horrific. That's just nasty. It's horrific, really is.
All righty, hold on. Let me. So I know y'all got hella motherfucking questions. Okay, so where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start? How do we unpack this? Um, let's start with what we heard last, right? Now, that statement right there, um, made by that Dollar General worker, to me, like, because I was already kind of like calling BS, like, oh, nobody knew and all this type shit. But her making that statement tells me that not only did people know, but the entire town knew. So let's talk about Hamden, right? For her to be speaking like in that about that situation, like the kids, coming to Family Dollar General, right? The reason I say if she knew, everybody know, because, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Hamden, Ohio. Population 200. So in a population, in a city, in a town of a population of 200, everybody knows everything about everybody. So the fact that we're hearing like, oh, they were kept in a room for 4 years and no, they weren't. These people regularly went out, although it may be at night, but they regularly went out with at least one of the children accompanying them. Now, let me get into some of the questions that I remember being seen earlier, right? One of the questions I think I asked were like, basically, and that's one thing that old Andy was uh bebopping and scatting and dancing around is okay, like how'd y'all get hip to these motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? Something's not right. Because we've never actually heard like, okay, what you know what I'm saying? What get y'all on these motherfuckers? Well, okay. What we know is this. Gary Jr. pictured in the upper right hand corner, right? Or should I say, or let me back up what we're saying. What actually prompted the search warrant for the home, like they said, it was a parallel investigation. What the parallel investigation was a ongoing investigation that had been taking place against Gary Jr., the father of the 16, I'll just say the father of the 16 children, right? Had been under investigation for about 6 weeks prior, because now get this. So, and they don't really say if he was under surveillance or not, but they say that he was that I know, or I do think they say he came under surveillance. Why? I don't. Now that's the magic question: is what got them on the radar or what got Gary Jr. on the radar to begin with? Because according to court records, while under surveillance, right now, make this make sense. He was observed on 3 different days, 3 separate occasions, right, outside the home, publicly exposed, basically, so anyone could see him, right? So based on being observed under surveillance 3 different times outside, exposing itself. They took that and got a search warrant to search the home, and the children were discovered. But the actual details of what the search warrant was for and what they were looking for is sealed, right? So we don't know why he was what like who who uh 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 who who contacted law enforcement, like who, like what even got them to the point that he was, could be, Stephanie, I didn't think about that, dope. But so he's under surveillance, right? He's publicly exposed. Why don't you arrest him? Law enforcement? Why don't you, and not just why don't you arrest him, but uh uh why don't you not arrest him the first time? Why don't you arrest him the second time? Or why don't you arrest him the third time? So, like I said, something's not right. Because obviously the town knew. But I get it. Hey, maybe they didn't know it was 16 kids in there. Maybe I'll give them that. But to say we didn't know any children were there, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. So, okay. Let me put Vibrant's comment up here. So those were the alleged dates of him being observed outside of his home, exposed, so it could be seen by everyone. All right. So let's get into the family. Let's meet the Siders. Okay. And of course, the question everybody is asking is like, where did all this shit, who are these motherfuckers? Where did this what's going on? Okay. So let's meet the Siders, right? Now, what we know for sure is that all this began 18 years ago in, wait for it, West Virginia. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This saga began in no other state than, you guessed it, West Virginia. So Gary Jr. and his wife Elizabeth were happily wed in the year 2008. All right. Now, it would probably surprise a lot of you to know that now the laws have changed since then, but in 1908 in 2008, did you all know that there was no minimum age requirement for marriage in the state of West Virginia as long as you had parental consent? Since then, laws have changed a little bit. Now, the lawmakers were, or let's just say, legislators were pushing to make the legal age for marriage 18. Well, they settled with 16 with some other loopholes attached. But at the time, these two were married, there was no legal age for marriage, which the reason I'm saying that is because at the time this couple was married, Gary Jr. was 18, and Elizabeth, his wife, the daughter of Christina, who is the wife of Gary Sr. Stay with me, folks. When they got married, she was, like I said, he was 18 and she was, wait for it, 15 years old. 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 That's right. She was 15 years old. And at the age of, also at the age of at 15, 2 months after they were married, she gave birth to her first child. Now, let's talk about the children. All right. 16 children. Let's break it down. Okay. So, oh, and by the way, the wife, Christina, the mother of 16 children, she is 33 years old. That's right. She is 33 years old, 16 children. So, oh, let's, grandpa, we're going to talk about grandpa here in a little bit. So let's break down the children. All right. Now, like I said, the first child was born 2 months after they were married, right? So the oldest child is 18 years old, right? So they have a 18-year-old, then they had a 1 year gap, then they have a 16-year-old, then they have a 15-year-old, then they have a 14-year-old, then they have a 13-year-old, then they had a 1 year gap, then they have a 10-year-old. No, I'm sorry. They had a 1 year gap, and then they had a 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, had another 1 year gap. They have a 8-year-old, skipped a year, have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old. Now, this is where shit gets interesting, and I had to do a little research, right? Okay. So let's do the math now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have, so far they got 10 children, right? Now this is where shit gets interesting. I left off at a 5-year-old. They have a set of 4-year-old twins. They have a set of 2-year-old twins. Okay, now. Okay, now hold up. After the set of 2-year-olds, she actually had another set of twins that died prematurely. They were actually conjoined twins. They were conjoined at the chest, and they subsequently died. And then she followed that up with another set of twins. So if you count the ones that passed away, she had 4 straight sets of twins, right? So I'm in the patterns and cycles, right? So you see 18, 16, 15, 14, 13, 11, 10, 8, 6, 5. And then all of a sudden, you see 4 straight sets of twins, right? Now, I looked this up, okay, to find out, and not about so much the probability, because that alone, like, hell, she should have been playing the fucking lottery. Like real talk, if you want to just go by probability. But when I looked it up a different way, I think I asked, one, I asked, like, is that a red flag, right? And given the situation, right, one of the answers that I got is that I forgot what the term was called, but it was um like overutilization or something like. But basically, if a woman like how she was basically pregnant from 18 to 33. Yeah, I mean, and when a woman's reproductive system um is subjected to just repeated pregnancy, repeated childbirths at a point, um tw- thank you, Stephanie. Hyperovulation, that is the term that I found. And hyperovulation basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is basically a woman's body telling them like, yo, you got to fucking chill. That's the best way I can put it. Like, if I'm wrong, or I'm being too cavemanish, that's kind of, but yes, over ovulation, right? Okay. And I looked up something else, and it's possible for a woman, you think about it, a woman who might be in a hyper ovulating ovulating state, right? I asked, okay, is it possible for a woman to basically get pregnant by two different dudes, basically, right? And it's basically kind of in the same ballpark, but it is possible, and it's more probable in those situations in a hyper ovulating a woman who is in a hyper ovulated state to be able to conceive babies and have fraternal twins by two different men. Seen? So I'm not speculating, but I mean, look at what the fuck is going on. Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I'm trying not to speculate because or sensationalize anything because you don't really have to. You don't really have to, right? But I'm trying to think, is there anything? Oh, so let me play one more video here, and I find this right here is this is uh, um words from the daughter or the mother of the children, Elizabeth. This is a recent interview with her attorney. Okay, so let me just read it real quick for you. Okay. Here. Because I don't know if this is, well, a defense attorney being a defense attorney, but through here. Hold on a minute. Let me get this together real quick. Boom. Let me share the screen real quick. Okay, so now going back to the press conference and everything, like we heard the description of the children, which I tend to believe that to be more. I tend to believe that being accurate. All right, that is in fact like it's not that much of a stretch. Let's just say, as to like the condition of the children, the mental development of the children, just everything involved. But let's hear what the defense attorney has to say, and well, let's just listen to this.
We're learning new details about the Benton County investigation and more details about Elizabeth Siders, one of the 4 suspects charged with 16 counts of child endangering. And the woman attorneys believe is the mother of all 16 of those children removed from the Hamden house last week. 10 TV first told you about this story last Tuesday, and at the time, Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson described the situation as, quote, pure evil.
The next day, authorities said this about the conditions inside that house.
Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
But in the past hour, Elizabeth Siders' attorney says there is much more to this story. 10 TV's Carla Rodner spoke to him and joins us now in studio with what we're learning about this, Carla.
Yeah, Tommy Stawley is the attorney appointed to Elizabeth Siders. I talked to him after he visited her in jail this afternoon. He said today she shared more information about her children and told him they were all born in hospitals. He says that he takes issue with comments authorities made calling those conditions inside the home pure evil and wanted to dispel some of the rumors. Here's some of our conversation. Is it your understanding that the kids were forced to stay inside?
I don't think we've seen any evidence to prove that. There's been no evidence to suggest that there were any restraints in the home, that the children were locked or forced to remain in the 12 by 12 room. I think this is one of the things that's been really sensationalized on the internet.
Is it your understanding that she wanted to be pregnant this many times and give birth to this many children?
So what she's told me repeatedly is that she and Gary wanted a big family. I don't know if they wanted a family that was this big, but they repeatedly said, she's repeatedly said to me that she wanted a big family. She said that kids are a gift from God.
Has she talked to you about how the kids were treated at all, how they fed them, or what the
Now, listen to this shit right here.
dynamic was like inside of the home?
Absolutely. So quite honestly, when I go into the jail, I've been there 3 times. Every time I go there, we end up talking about the kids for a significant portion of our visit. What she tells me is that the kids had phones. Some of them had social media, the older kids. I don't know how active they were on that social media, but
Okay, now, motherfucker, you're gonna have to. Don't take. Wait a minute. Hold up. So this ain't like. See, this is one of those situations where like it's not even close. Like you got one side saying like, "Yo, the oldest daughter couldn't even spell her name." 18 years old, she couldn't even spell her name. Some of the younger children couldn't even verbally communicate. Now you got the lawyer, her lawyer saying like, "Oh, the older ones, they was regular kids, they on social media, and they got TikTok and all this type shit."
Some of them had social media, the older kids. I don't know how active they were on that social media, but she tells me that they had little inside jokes. And I think the big thing with that is it doesn't jive with the way that this case has been characterized in the public. Because when you use language like feral kids, you're imagining people that have been isolated away from human contact. People who have never interacted with any sort of social media, with the internet, with humans outside of their own home, or even humans in general.
Okay, the description that the lady from the Dollar General gave, does that sound more like feral children, or does it sound like what this nigga is trying to the picture? Okay, you're doing your job, but come on, player, come on, playboy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not gonna get this like one of these motherfuckers just true crime, trying to clickbait the local media, the national media for that matter, but I'm based right here, ground zero damn near with this shit. So I'm gonna follow this shit through.
Humans outside of their own home, or even humans in general, who are completely lack the ability to use language. There's nothing to suggest that that is the case here.
So the kids can communicate.
That's my understanding, yes.
Well, at least he's using plausible deniability. Well, that's my understanding. That's what she told me. I can't be for sure, but I'm just going by what she said. Nah, motherfucker, it's what they said. Yeah, I'm saying.
Now, the attorney told me that Elizabeth has been receiving care packages from people while she's been in jail. He has filed a motion requesting Elizabeth be released on a recognizance bond. Right now, she remains in jail alongside her husband, Gary Jr., and Christina Siders. Yolanda?
All right. Thank you, Carla. And tomorrow night at 6:30.
Okay. So, let's talk about now let's talk about this case from the aspect of, let's just say difficulties that they're gonna encounter prosecuting this case. Okay. Now, to give you an example of the difficulties that they're gonna have, right, is for one, I already foresee a problem with the prosecutor of Vinton County, because he's already like, well, this is a Vinton County thing, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like we got this. You know what I'm saying? We'll accept some help. Special prosecutors, but this our thing. We got this. Well, you don't got it, like, financially, right? And I will be surprised that when it's all said and done, and I foresee this case probably taking about 2 years to go to court. And that's if they're all tried like together and they're not like broken up and tried separately. But one of the problems that Vinton County is going to have is that any one aspect of this situation is putting stress on the county's finances. Job and Family Services, have just taken on the care of 16 children, which far exceeds what their annual budget even is. So just them having to care for the 16 children is enough to bankroll the county. All right. They are such a small town that they don't even convene grand juries but every 4 to 6 weeks, right? So none of these people are going to even see a grand jury indictment or seen before a grand jury for at least another month or so, right? But to highlight how poor the county is, right? So you remember I showed that during that press conference when I showed the grandfather, whatever, Gary Sr. was seated in a wheelchair. Well, while he was being transferred, I think, to court, dude fell, right? So they took him to the hospital and they found out, like, man, dude is fucked up. Like, I mean, look at him, you know what I'm saying? But he's got a lot of like physical shit going on, right? To the point that, now this is how poor they are. This Vinton County is, right? They end up releasing him on an OR bond, which means own recognizance, which means he got out for free, but he got out on bail for free. He got out. They let him on an OR bond. Reason being is because if he would have remained in custody, right, all of his legal bill or all of his medical bills would have to be reimbursed or have to be covered by the county, right? And just his medical bills would have bankrupt the county. So they literally had to release the dude so they wouldn't be responsible for his medical care. That's how broke this county is, right? So that's one thing that they're dealing with is they ain't got no bread. They only got 200 people in the whole town, which means like I can't see them being able to even seat jury jury for 4 different people if it came to that. And if I was the attorney for the mother of the children, I would definitely try to separate. Now, speaking of the mother, let me put the pictures up here so we can get familiar with. Because the question could be asked, right? And there's a lot we don't know. But what we do know, let's talk about what we know about the finances of the house, right? What we do know is that the Gary Sr. and to the lower right hand corner, Christina, who was his wife, the mother of Elizabeth, were both receiving Social Security benefits. Now we don't know if Gary or Elizabeth worked, but as far as we know, the only or let's just say the only 2 people that were collecting benefits were the elderly couple. Okay, and surprisingly, all their bills were paid up. Rent was paid up. They paid rent to a trusteeship. All right, the house they lived in is in a trusteeship. All right. What else? Oh, Stephanie, hold up. Stephanie, it's you.
Yeah, it's me. What to do?
What's going on? How you doing?
Man, this is bad. This is horrible. I mean, it's
Question.
horrible.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
one question. Had you heard about this before this, or
Nope. Not a
and
word.
that's what I'm talking about. Like, and I'm glad I'm taking my channel in this direction because this shit right here is like you would assume people would know about this right here. You know what I mean? But
I mean,
before it's all said and done with, I'm telling you, this is going to rock the nation. But go
yeah.
ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, DMO and I were talking in the chat about how if these people didn't look like me, this would be a nationwide scandal. If these were, if this was a black family that lived in Detroit or LA or Chicago, this would be all over worldwide news. And I don't know if that's because it's so it's obvious racism, but it's also like you're right. Like it's embarrassing. Like it's embarrassing these nice people.
I mean, was it what was I off with my thinking? Like because
No.
like I have a media background and I just see like not saying certain shit or not saying like, hey, these motherfuckers were stepbrother and stepsister.
Mm-hmm.
At best.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the only one saying this.
And
and I think it's like I'm seeing like the shame in the media in the coverage of this and how they're wording things, how they're framing shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very embarrassing to them.
That third world stuff, that continuing reference to the quote unquote third world, which isn't the correct nomenclature anyway, Donnie, that's a line from the Big Lebowski. But that's not the preferred nomenclature anyway. We call it the global south, unless you're still stuck in a very racist way of looking at the world. Calling it the third world is it's inaccurate to begin with. But also, like saying this happens this is stuff the third world no, it doesn't. That's incorrect. The only place I can think of in this quote unquote third world, which again isn't the correct way to refer to the global south, it doesn't even happen in the global south. It happens in Eastern Europe. That's the only other place I could think of where I've heard of this stuff happening besides the United States.
Right. And it's like, to be fair, when you see quote unquote those situations in Africa, right? A lot of times they were extenuating circumstances.
Mm.
Like
But I can't even think
they
of a situation like this in Africa. Like I
no
can't
no
even think.
well in terms of like the look or whatever, right?
Okay.
Um a lot of times like those countries were in the midst of famines. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
or civil war where hell there were no adults because they're all dead, like
Hmm.
children. There's extenuating circumstances why it's like that. Not because of pure neglect. You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
it's like, but believe it or not, I didn't take, because sometimes when people speak, especially when they're speaking from the heart, they don't realize how it sounds. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? But
But
it
it
was a
still comes
very
from
it
somewhere.
it it, it was a very telling statement because
Hmm.
basically what he's saying is like this shit isn't like this isn't supposed to that picture isn't supposed to be here. Like like this shit doesn't happen here, but it did. You see what I'm saying? And,
But that's
and
the
that's
thing. It doesn't happen anywhere else.
right. It really doesn't. And like you say, it mimics like more of a war torn European not even no like you say like it that's a hillbilly that don't go on nowhere else really. I mean, be
No,
honest with
that's
you.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm
You
saying.
know what I'm
That's what I'm
saying?
saying to you. That's what I'm saying.
And that's like, and I think that's where the embarrassment part because
Hmm.
a certain aspect would like you to think that this shit doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
That they
Right.
evolved to a at least they've evolved to a certain level, but
Right.
here we see that we haven't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I was about to ask a question, right?
Sure.
And right when you popped up stage, so I'm
Okay.
gonna pose that question to you, right? Um, and put these four individuals back up here. Based on what you heard so far, right? And there's a lot we haven't heard, a lot we don't know, right? Are any of them potential victims? Or could you look at any of them as being victims, or are all of them perpetrators and the victims are just the 16 children?
So obviously the primary victims, the ones who are the ones who are solely victims are the children, right?
Agreed. No brainer there.
Right.
Agreed. Right.
Now, we don't know about the dynamics of the household
Mm-hmm.
and what could have been going on as far as, gender-based abuse, gender-based violence, um, age, violence, how these two individuals were raised by the older two. Um, we don't know what kind of dominating personalities, what kind of history, emotional abuse, what kind of cycles of dominance and control were happening in this family. We don't know, right? I
Mm-hmm.
would suspect there's at least some level of something like that, right? Um, and I think, you might want to say, I mean, but here's the thing that's tricky about that stuff, right? Is because, you always think that it's the women who are being dominated by the men, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and not what if, but that grandmother, something ain't right with her.
Mm-hmm.
Something ain't right with grandma.
And like I said, there is a lot to that is going to
Mm-hmm.
like there, you know, okay, so here's my thoughts, right? You know, initially, I just kind of absorbed everything, right? You know, all the information, everything, right? So, okay, so as the middle of the week, you know, progressed, like information start coming out like about their background, right? So, okay, think about this for a minute, right? Um, at some point, your mom, right, marries this dude, right? Okay, and
Right.
he got a son. Okay, dude. Okay, so we know that he was 18 and she was 15 when they got married, and she gave birth to their first child 2 months later, right?
And obviously, none of the adults in that situation were keen on protecting her from that kind of thing. They gave her over to it.
Exactly. So, and this is at age 15, right? And basically, and I got to tell you something. One of the things that I think they're going to do is retract these people's movements very carefully to see, per se, and if I was investigating this case, I would look to see each, her first child, she was 50 years old, right? Okay. And that child was 18 years old. And she basically had a child every year since then. Now, what do you think about the four twins in a row shit?
Okay, so in addition to being a lawyer, I'm also a scholar. No, I'm like, but I went to a math and science high school. I had the opportunity to go to a math and science high school when I was in Oklahoma. And one of the classes I was lucky enough to be able to take was an endocrinology class and an embryology class. It was two separate ones, but it was taught by the same guy, and Professor Lee. And Professor Lee had dual PhDs in endocrinology and embryology. And his main doctoral work and his continuing research was on pigs and the pregnancy of pigs, raising pig, that kind of thing.
Wait a
And
minute. Let me interrupt you. Now, you know, I did my research because I'm talking about I was talking about hyperovulation. So
yes.
you know, I did my research. So let's continue.
Mm-hmm. And when pigs are, and the reason he did research on pigs is because their
Reproductive. Go ahead.
is very, very similar. Yes. So
Exactly.
yeah. And when a woman, a female pig, whatever, when a woman is pregnant like that, back to back to back to back to back to back to back, her hormones can never bounce back to normal levels, which causes her to be even more inclined to get pregnant, right? Because her estrogen and her progesterone are just off the charts and she's never coming back down. And so that's what is going to start throwing her into hyperovulation as well, because she is not able to come back to like a normal, like even keel,
Reset,
non-pregnant
basically.
level. She
Right.
can't reset.
Like a reset. Right.
She can't reset. And it's going to throw her into hyperovulation. Then as she starts to age, which she's not that old, but even as, because I mean, when you're 30-ish, like your body starts getting ready to stop having kids, and so like she's also releasing follicular stimulating hormone. So all these hormones in her system, yeah, she's gonna start having she's gonna start releasing more eggs at a time. She's having menstrual um, menstrual cycles, getting pregnant, having another menstrual cycle while she's pregnant. All these things are are just she's in just her body is in turmoil, like serious turmoil. I mean, she never got a chance to come back. And what I'm also wondering is the effects that had on her brain, because her brain, she had to been nutrient. I mean, look at her. They're nutrient starved anyway, right? They're not eating well. As a family, they're not eating well. But then when she starts pumping kids out like that, and like these conjoined twins who didn't make it, all these things, she is like, I mean, her body is just eating her skeleton, eating her muscle to try to keep these to try to keep forming these babies, and
And
it's
and
also
and
eating her
and,
brain.
and I'm gonna tell you something too to go along with what you're saying. Okay, so she had the set of 4-year-old twins, set of 2-year-old twins, then the ones that died, then the she followed with another set of twins. Now going along, could it like think about it? Children in general take a lot out of you. You know what I mean? So after two sets of twins, and they were saying that like this was like 6 months after the birth of the 2-year-old twins, right? And I'm thinking like, well, maybe they were
Right.
conjoined just because she didn't have shit left.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I tried to do some quick research, and I couldn't find anything that would lend to, like some sort of abnormality or some sort of hormone, but I mean, something, something happened there. That wasn't, I can't believe that, that would just be random at that point.
But like I said, like I said, this saga started in West Virginia, right? Let me put this picture up again and make it okay. Her appearance, I think because according to her attorney, she's been doing a lot of crying. So I think that explains like why she's looking like that around the eyes. Cause she just been thinking, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That might just be what you look like when you have 16 kids. But okay, so Steph, what do you think about the comments of law enforcement, or per se the attorney general, the neighbors, and the contradicting statement of the Dollar General employee, which I think is the most important statement.
That they knew.
Yeah, that if she knew,
Sorry.
if she knew, the fucking town knew. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a town. I spent a lot of my childhood. I'm not from there, but I spent a lot of my childhood in this little town in Oklahoma, 1,500 people. Let me tell you, everybody knew each other's business in a town of 1,500. So that small, get out of here. That when that clerk at the Dollar General saw those kids, that went around town like wildfire. Don't. I don't believe anything else. And so, you can't convince me otherwise. You can't. And so I just like, and just the things that it's sort of a lesson, I think, in that, like, I don't believe in the whole, overreactive, see something, say something every single time, because, sometimes you need to be have a little bit more discretion, a little bit more discernment than just like every time you see something you miss, you say something. But I also think a lot of times we're ignoring our gut feelings, and we're ignoring like things that are just not right, but we're thinking like, oh, I'm sure that's nothing. I'm sure that's nothing. And it could lead to like our own selves being victims of violent crime. The guy that's getting too close to us, but we're like, oh, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. And he's not fine, and your gut is telling you that. And I just wonder how like the neighbors were sitting there going like, I'm sure it's okay.
Well, and the fact that not only that the store worker said that they knew, but they were also giving them like hygiene products, giving them. You know what I'm saying? So come on now. Let's let's segue to law enforcement, right? And the questions. Okay, they've yet to say what got them on the radar.
Well,
and they've
you
and
know,
they've been very close lip about that.
well, dude has like several cases pending for indecent exposure, which is odd.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the point. They aren't saying what like put them like they're not saying like, oh, we got a call from a neighbor. They're not saying like what led like how the fuck did y'all know? Like what led y'all to even suspect that dude was out here doing what he was doing? Like that's what they're not saying is what put them on the radar.
Yeah.
Or put that house on the radar or put Gary Jr. on the radar. And that's what I'm saying. There's something not right. There's something not right. Because to be honest with you, if it was simple as like drugs, I think they would have said that.
Yeah. Unless they're looking for some big fish or something, or not big fish, but bigger fish.
Well, like whatever it was, this supersedes whatever the investigation might have been.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
So
unless they really they still have an investigation going into that dude that they're thinking that this guy would lead him to, and they don't want him to know.
Okay.
Yeah, that they were looking for that, like whoever they thought he was going to lead him to. They still have an open investigation on that guy, and they're like, yeah, we don't want him to know necessarily, but yeah, I mean, okay, so the reason I say dope is because shit like this and methamphetamine go hand in fucking hand in
Right.
hand. I've seen it myself, not to this extent, obviously, but in the town I grew up in, again, it was wrecked by methamphetamine, and you would just see like horrible things happen in homes that where the parents were addicted to meth, and it's like the filth, the neglect, the kids not going to school, stuff like that, and so that's why I was like, I wonder if dope's involved.
And they give you a little more history. They have moved around a lot. This is probably like the longest they've been like in quite some time. They've been in that residence for like 4 years, which is the longest they've probably been in one spot for a while. Yeah. And for real, I'm telling you, if I was investigators, I would go back to look at wherever they were living at during a time where she had a gap in having children. And I'm going to just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because something ain't, like I said,
something right.
Obviously it's something not right with them, but it's just something not right with this investigation, with this case. Like, I'm in the body language, and the attorney general wasn't speaking from a place of confidence. Let's just say, like his body language wasn't of a confident prosecutor. You know what I'm saying? Right. And the fact that he was like, I noticed like the questions that he deferred. Yeah, I mean, that was a very interesting like press conference. If you break it down, you know what I mean. And how when the county prosecutor was like, grandmother, grandfather, mom, and dad, that's it. And his face was just like, look, that's no more questions about that. You know what I'm saying? No more questions about that. Because it's embarrassing.
Yes, it is. It really is. It's yeah.
Well, like I said,
it makes you feel. It makes you skin crawl. Honestly, yeah. Oh, I can't even. and you know, and I'm not embarrassed by it, but I am, you know, a proud hillbilly, and you know, and I want to disavow this as much as I can, but well, I also have to acknowledge that this is the kind of shit that is unfortunately, you know, you only see with people like us. I mean, and I would like to think I'm one of the respectable ones, but I mean, this is I only see this, you know, that you only see this with people like me, you know, or like the people that are from what I come from. You know what I mean?
And I also see a potential, let's just say, war of words or finger pointing between the state of Ohio and the state of West Virginia. I definitely see that.
Oh yeah.
Definitely see
Yep. And also finger pointing between the family members too.
that. Yep.
Oh, that's coming. Oh, that's definitely coming.
Now there was an interview um, from a guy who is married to the older sister of Gary Jr. So, yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna assume just the way it was worded, like she's the daughter of Christina, like that. It is what it is. Like that's his son and that's her daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
And whenever they got together, like well, she was 15 or 14 at least.
Yeah.
And he was like 17 or 18, right? So it's like, god damn, like, okay, I got a son, right? Okay, I got a son. If I married a woman who got a daughter, right? I'm not even sure if that'd be one of the things I would think of ahead of time. But like, if need be, I'd be like, yo, ain't no like you ain't no fucking around with your my bad reflex. Ain't no fucking around with your sister, dog. Like, let's get that straight. Like, don't look like woo woo woo. You know what I mean? Like, but so, but like I said, for all we know, they could be for people with extreme mental issues. You see what I'm saying?
I'm sure they've got extreme mental issues. I'm sure of it. I mean,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's just some, you know, I'm not saying necessarily chemical imbalances, but something led to this. I mean, this is not even among certain, like even among cultures, you know, hillbilly cultures. I mean, this is not standard. I mean, it happens, but it's not standard. You know, like there's a natural like biological wiring where you're like you don't do stuff like that. Like it's repulsive. You know, like ignore like a person who's wired correctly is going to be repulsed by this kind of shit.
Yeah, and Keeper, what's going on, Keeper? Yeah, there was an interview with one of the first responders who transported a couple of the children to the hospital, and he made similar statements that like he's kind of used to it though, but those like if you respond to scenes like that, you kind of know like he was like he's like yeah that particular day like it was in my clothes like till I got back to the station and showered, you know what I mean, type shit, but out of all four individuals, I think if Elizabeth, who is the mother of the children, if he plays his cards right, he has the best chance of like.
Yeah, they're gonna point. If I had to guess, they're gonna point the finger at grandma and father.
Yep.
Grandpa's gonna be considered. He was so out of it and so disabled and so gone that he didn't know what was going on. That's how his defense attorney is going to word that. And then the mother is going to be dominated by her mother and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, the only thing that's going to is now this is going to go back, because you know it's going to be pulled, but whenever they pull the marriage certificate, right? If it was signed by Gary Senior and Christina. They're kind of fucked right there. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the like the defense of like being out of it, not what was going on.
Well, and what I meant by that is that now, like you might have been there when this first started happening, but now, like,
Okay,
look at him.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Now, going back to Elizabeth now, right? One thing that her attorney has said repeatedly is she doesn't consider herself as a victim, right? But that's not saying like she considers herself a protect like she did anything wrong either. See what I'm saying? Which is like if all you know is dysfunction and if your normal is not normal, then that's normal. You see what I'm saying? So if like if this is all she knows, then she don't know it's fucked up.
Right. No. Yeah. 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 I still think I mean, okay, let me put it this way. After years and years and years of being broken down like that, if that's what her defense attorney is going to be able to show, then yeah, this could become the normal. But unless there's just something out of the womb that was just, she's a misfit toy, she came off the assembly line bad, like this. But then again, I mean, her parents let her get married at 14, so
right.
I mean, was this sort of bound to happen? I mean, could she have hoped for better? I mean, probably somewhat better than this, but I mean, what hope did she have? I don't know. But still, something ain't right with her. She's got some responsibility because she should have been repulsed by this.
True. And then you got the husband, right? Who, I mean, jumping on her every time like she come home from the hospital ain't enough. This motherfucker's outside, exposing himself. You see what I'm saying? So, like, he definitely got some shit going on. You see what I'm saying? So it's like from what I can see, like, and to go along with what you were saying earlier, like, where's her mental development at? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
right.
Like,
and I think if anything, and wherever she started from, she definitely had some decline just because of all those pregnancies back to back to back. I mean, her body was being broken down by every time she had a pregnancy because she wasn't eating good. So her body had to come get those nutrients to form that baby from somewhere, and they got it from her, including her gray matter.
Right. And look, they ain't from like Huntington or they from the hills. They some hill jacks.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you if that part of Ohio is considered Appalachia, or is that like a upper Appalachia? Like, what would you characterize it as that, or is that considered a different region?
Okay, okay, and this highlights like Ohio is a very interesting state, right? Ohio is bordered by okay, so we're bordered by Lake Erie to the north. We're bordered by going like counterclockwise. You have Lake Erie like due north. Then we're bordered by Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, right? So that particular area of Ohio, right, is close to is close to the Pennsylvania, the West Virginia, and the Kentucky border, right? So you get a lot of that area down there in southeast Ohio it's down there, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very poor. Um Agriculture, that's about it, and
Mm-hmm.
drugs. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you get a lot of transplants coming like right over from the border
Mm-hmm.
from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Kentucky right there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and
That's kind of what I
it's
figured.
it's a very like even the resources of the county is very limited. You know it's small when okay, because this the county that's taking place in is called Vinton County, right? With a V, right? You
Yeah, I
know
was
a
doing some
place
quick little research in it.
you know a place is small when they don't even really name the town. They just say Vinton County.
Right.
Town so small it's not even mentioned, but they mention the county, but not even the fucking town because it's
Right.
that little. You know,
Yeah, I
that's
was
how
looking at
small.
that. What was it called? The town? It's not even a town. It's called a village, right? Y'all have villages in
Right.
Ohio, which we
Right.
don't have.
Exactly. Right. Hamden, Hamdem. Hamden.
Wow, dude. Well, speaking of hillbillies, I got to call my folks. Um, but we're the good kind. Remember, we're the good kind. We're the good kind. We're the respectable kind. Um, but yeah, Pete, thanks for covering this. This is real content right here, so I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. And like I said, I'm going to be giving updates on this as they really come up because you know it's you know I'm not you know I'm not going to like I'm even seeing with a lot of like because this is making crime and like true crime type uh channels and shit, and they're clickbaiting and giving like erroneous information
Oh yeah,
and all that type shit. And I'm glad that I'm ground zero, you know, for something like this. And this is something I can really dig my teeth into, you know. And this is the kind of direction that I'm gonna be going for real. Like
nice.
shit like this, you know.
Taking your channel in another
Uh,
direction. I like it.
yep. But because I'm like shocked at how much shit like people don't know, not just here in Ohio, but nationwide. People people didn't know, you know. I think you ever heard I heard a story about this uh basically he was a crooked sheriff and shit. He died in 2023. And after he passed away, like when they would clean out his office, they were like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like this motherfucker was on some
Oh
bullshit.
wow,
You know,
wow.
like stealing money and all this type shit. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, you know, just
Was that
man,
Ohio?
nah, I want to say it was like in the Carolinas, like maybe South
Yeah,
Carolina.
yeah,
This sh-
yeah.
this sh- he was a black sheriff named he was Sheriff Purnell, right?
Hmm.
And apparently, like what he was doing, like when he was elected, when he became sheriff, is he went to the narcotics uh to the narcotics division. Basically, said that any money seizures were to be turned into him, right?
Right. Like
So
the general fund of the sheriff's department. The general fund, right?
right. So any money that was being seized, instead of being cataloged and given to evidence or whatever, he was quote unquote he was keeping this shit in his office, right? So one of the things that was happening was that like okay, so if money is, and you'll notice, so if money is seized, right, and um you go to court and the court says like, okay, you got to get that money back, right? Okay, so basically like the uh the lady who was like who worked with the courts, who was in charge of the funds, right? basically had a meeting with the sheriff and told him like, yo, look, unless you give me the money, right, I'm not going to be able to pay this shit back because, like, where you think, like, we don't have it. Like, we don't have it to give because you didn't give it to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she knew something wasn't right. Like, there was a couple of people who knew something wasn't right because she tell them, like, yo, and tell them, like, look, this ain't going to be on me. I'm just letting you know, like, I'm going to let this motherfuckers know, like, we ain't got the money to pay you because he ain't gave it to us. Like, that's how deep this shit was. And when they
Right.
like when they went into his desk drawer, they found all these like evidence bags that either had like tears in them, you know, like some had like a few, a little money in them, but you can see where a tear was big enough where you could slide bills out. Some of them was just totally empty, and it was
That's wild.
it was like supposed to be like maybe like close to $50,000 that was like according to like what was supposed to be in there, and was only like maybe 3 or 4,000 like loosely in there like left and shit.
That's crazy. But he died.
He had a heart attack.
Hey, that's better than getting caught.
Right. And then, you know, his second in command was like, hey, I didn't know anything. Like, yeah, right, motherfucker. That was your partner. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, Stephanie, hey, thank you for joining me up here as always. You're you know, I just play a lawyer, you are one. So it's always good when you can get up here, you know, correct me when I'm going astray or let me know when I'm,
Well,
you know.
the sector's opinions about that are divided, but we'll just keep it at that. We'll just let that one go.
Well, you know, especially when it comes to hillbillies, I'm definitely gonna defer to you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Well, Stephanie,
Thank you so much. I'm ready.
All right, you ready? Well,
Yeah, I'm ready.
your table is ready, ma'am. Thank you for your wait. Man, I hope everybody. That was Stephanie Collins. Everybody, man. I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to giving you updates on this developing situation. All right. Make sure that you like and you subscribe to my channel. And if you like what you hear, man, make sure that y'all share this video. Okay. So look, I'm about to get up out of here. I think I'm gonna, you know what? I think I might play a couple tunes. I think I might play a couple tunes for the people. All right, before I get out of here, man. Look, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed bringing you this topic. Like I said, I had to get my mind right because this is a very, very difficult topic. You know what I mean? This shit right here, boy. Thank you, Lorna. And once again, thank you, Stephanie, for helping make this great live happen. Stephanie. Thank you.
I got a ring on mine. Both of us scrolling through half-truth pictures, trying to act like we fine. We met in the lift, just joking. Comments turned into late-night confessions. You type, damn, you get me. Now I'm stuck in this lesson. Can we bump when the house lights low and they go? When you can't say what you want at home. Can we bump let that little blue screen turn you on? Tell me all the things that you don't. Can we bump yeah. Bump Started with love, all you crazy. Now it's baby, you still away. You be in the kitchen, camera on mute. mouthing my name while you baby. We trading secrets in the back chat, screenshots, hard eyes, save threads. You said he don't even look at me. I said she just talks in my bed. Can we fall when the house lights low and they gone? When you can't say what you want at home. Can we fall? Let that little blue screen turn you on. Tell me all the things that you know. Can we fall? Log out, lay back by his shoulder. I view, roll over by her side. Two strangers sharing the same cover story. But you the truth on my late night line. Can we go? That house lights slow and they go. And you can't say what you want at home. Can we go? Let that little blue screen turn you on. Tell me all the things that you know. Can we go?
So, like I said, man, that's it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Now, does this mean that I'm going to be strictly doing like true crime or some shit like that? No, because this I don't really consider this per se true crime. But will I? No. Just know that whatever topic that I decide to cover is going to definitely be topical. It's going to be well vetted. It's going to be researched, and I'm only going to speak about things that I know. Oh, on a side note, on a side note, let me take y'all out the door with this. So, as of those of you who don't know, right? And I haven't seen it yet. I've yet to see it, but opening last June 12th was a movie that I have been talking about for the past 6 months called Steven Spielberg production called Disclosure Day. Now, it's open at the theaters. I really haven't heard too much feedback about the movie, but it's obviously about alien disclosure, right? Now, from the few trailers that I had seen about the movie, right? This is my little tinfoil moment right here, okay? Now it's gonna probably take a couple of months. I haven't seen the movie, and I'm just making this is just one of my conspiracy shits that I'm throwing out there, right? I haven't seen the movie, but from what I have seen, and this may take some months for the connections to be made, right? Now, of those of you who may be aware, over the past year, there has been a ongoing let's say conversation about missing about scientists and high ranking like government officials related to like the UFO field that have either gone missing, uh died in mysterious suicides, whatever, right? And what really brought it to the attention was, which she hasn't been found yet, was the disappearance of a retired Air Force general whose clearance, basically, he ran a division that basically, if there was such things, if there was UFOs, like that's like his department was like back engineering type shit, like propulsion, that type shit, right? So his disappearance really sparked like the conversation about all these missing scientists, right? Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that the movie Disclosure Day, right? that there are going to be certain characters that appear in the movie Disclosure Day that mirror people that are quote unquote on this list of missing or dead scientists over the past year. So in other words, I think that the real life counterparts that mirror characters in this movie are some of the ones that have been killed, including this general in the past year, right? Because there's been a lot of let's talk about Disclosure Day real quick, right? Synchronicities about Disclosure Day, right? So the first day of promotion of the movie Disclosure Day took place on December 19th, which was significant for two reasons. One, December 19th was 2 days before the winter solstice. The winter solstice was December 21st. Advertisement or promotion for this movie began December 19th, 2 days before. But more significant, December 19th was the day that Comet 3I Atlas made its closest approach past the Earth. So that was the day when it passed closest past the Earth, right? So December 19th is the day that they began promoting the movie. June 12th is the day the movie opened. So it opened 2 days before the winter solstice, which was December 21st. And the movie opened, and the movie actually opened on June 12th. June 12th, 12, 1, 2. The summer solstice was June 21st, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2, 1. Hey, that's all I got for y'all. That's all I got for y'all. I'm doing research on these data centers and the connections to the quote unquote water shortages going on like around the country and shit. So hey, that's all I got for y'all, man. I hope y'all enjoyed every day. You know what I'm saying? And until next time, I'm out.
Them hate on the name. Still me there same way. Words cut deep, them can't tame me. Them a chat on my file, screenshot my style, clip up my line, try twist my profile. Panel killer, me mash up the trial. One question, room silent for a while. Keyboard soldier, bruise up them ego. Views can't save you, truth still a steam though. Them want skill, but them want it free. Watch out, them free still can't make it. Content creator, them vex. Panel kill up on the set. Me words of power, them fret. Them wish them coulda do it like this. Them hate when me talk so wrong. Me my shake room, change on. Me stand tall in every war. Panel killer, me now withdraw. They want me silence, me answer with science. Edit up the evidence, expose the alliance. Me build up me craft while them dead on space. Me study every angle, them study me face. Scene after scene, me script too clean. Them stuck on me, me stuck on dream. Audio laser, video laser. Same time drop, instant eraser. Content creator, them vex. Panel kill up on the set. Me words of power, them fret. Them wish them coulda do it like this. Them hate when me talk so raw. Me voice everyone. Panel killer, me now win. Turn up the sound when them try turn down. Still hear me name, make a right through town. Them wish me the crap, but skip the grind. Me sharpen my mind, them sharpen punchline. Content creator, them vex. Panel killer on the set. The words and power, them fret. Them wish them coulda do it like this. They make when you talk so raw. Me voice shape room, change law. Me stand tall in every war. Panel killer, me now withdraw.